Most people are waiting for something, anything, a sign, a break, a lucky moment. They're hoping that someday, somehow, success will stumble into their lives like a forgotten lottery ticket. But here's what they never told you. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who prepare. Success doesn't happen to you. It happens because of you. You don't get to wake up one morning and find a mansion at your doorstep. You don't stumble into greatness like it's a pothole on the street. No, greatness is something you build, something you design, something you engineer with your own two hands. You have to be the architect of your own success. It starts with you, your mind, your habits, your disciplines, your willingness to change, your commitment to keep going even when no one's watching. People often say, well, I wasn't born with the talent. That's fine. Most people aren't, but let me ask you, were you born with drive? Were you born with hunger? If not, can you develop it? Because what you weren't born with, you can still become. See, we're not limited by our birth. We're limited by our beliefs and our behaviors. Success is not reserved for the wealthy. It's not reserved for the elite. It's reserved for the consistent. It's earned in the small decisions made daily, the choice to study instead of scroll, to wake up early instead of sleeping in, to say no when comfort calls and yes when growth demands effort. These little acts, these seemingly invisible choices, they stack up, and one day they turn into a life that most people only dream of. Let me tell you what happens when you start changing yourself. First, nothing. That's right. You go to the gym and you're still tired. You eat healthy for a week and the scale doesn't move. You read books and you still feel confused. But success, real success, doesn't pay on day one. It's not a vending machine. It's a long-term investment. And if you don't understand that, you'll give up before the compound interest of your effort starts working in your favor. You have to be willing to do the work today with faith that the results will come tomorrow. And here's the part most people don't like. Nobody's going to cheer for you at the start. Nobody's going to applaud your first early morning. They're not going to celebrate your small victories. In fact, some people might even laugh. That's okay. That's just the noise of the crowd. But champions don't train for applause. They train for victory, quiet victory, private victory, inner victory, and only then comes the public one. They won't tell you this, but success doesn't start with action. It starts with identity. You have to become the kind of person who does the kind of things that create the kind of results you want. Want to be wealthy? Start thinking like someone who respects money. Want to be healthy? Start acting like someone who honors their body. The results are simply a reflection of who you've become. So if you want different outcomes, you have to build a different version of yourself. There's an old saying, if you don't change, nothing changes. That's not just clever, it's the blueprint. Success is the external result of an internal decision. The decision to take full ownership of your life. The decision to stop blaming the economy, your parents, your past. The decision to say, if it's going to be, it's up to me. When you take that kind of ownership, the world opens up to you. Opportunities appear not because they weren't there before, but because now you're ready to see them. You're equipped. You've become the kind of person who recognizes doors and walks through them, instead of standing outside waiting for someone to invite you in. Most people underestimate how much power they have over their own lives. They give it away to circumstances, to opinions, to fear. But the truth is, your life is built by your choices, day by day, habit by habit, choice by choice. You can complain or you can create. You can point fingers or you can take the wheel. You can make excuses or you can make progress. but you can't do both. You have to choose. And once you understand that success happens because of you, not to you, you stop waiting. You stop wishing. You stop hoping. You start building. You wake up and realize that the life you want isn't hiding from you. It's waiting on you. Waiting for you to step into responsibility, into discipline, into focus. Not just once, but daily. Over and over. Until who you are begins to match the life you desire. Would you like me to continue with Keynote 2 in the same expanded format? The real price of success is solitude, not spotlight. They showed you the reward, but they didn't show you the price tag. They let you see the trophies, but they never showed you the training. You saw the celebration, but not the isolation. That's the part they left out. That's the message they never said out loud. The real price of success isn't fame, it isn't money, it isn't popularity. It's solitude. Quiet, invisible, often painful solitude. Everyone wants the spotlight, but very few are willing to endure the seasons of silence that come before it. You see someone winning and you think they're lucky. What you didn't see were the nights they stayed up while the rest of the world slept. You didn't see the early mornings, the skipped parties, the missed calls, the meals eaten alone. You didn't hear the voice in their head telling them to quit, and the louder voice inside that told them to keep going. That's where success is forged, not in front of cameras, but behind closed doors. Not when people are cheering, but when no one even notices you exist. It's in the repetition, the discipline, the decision to show up again and again even when it seems like nothing is happening. That's the price, and they never really told you that, did they? See, solitude isn't glamorous. Nobody claps for you when you decide to work instead of socialize. No one gives you a medal for reading late into the night or waking up at 5 a.m. to push yourself. That kind of commitment. It's lonely, and most people run from it because they think solitude is punishment. But the truth is, solitude is preparation. Think of the seed planted underground. It spends months in the dark before it ever breaks through the surface. That darkness, that isolation isn't failure, it's growth, it's quiet development. The same is true for success. You grow in private before you shine in public. The world won't understand your silence. They won't get why you pull back, why you're unavailable, why you're saying no to distractions. That's because they're not supposed to. It's your vision, not theirs. And your vision will require sacrifices they'll never see. The real journey to success is done in places where applause doesn't reach and the cameras never go. What they never told you is that the strongest people aren't the loudest. They're the ones who can sit in silence with their goals and keep going without external praise. They're the ones who work when it's not convenient. They're the ones who don't need permission to evolve. Because when you really want to grow, you don't need permission. You just need purpose. Solitude is where you confront yourself. It's where you meet the real version of you. The one who's tired, scared, uncertain, yet still willing. And that's the version of you that success is built upon. Not the version the world sees, but the one you meet in the mirror at 4 a.m., tired but committed. You'll notice something strange happens when you start to separate yourself. People begin to misunderstand you. Some might say you've changed. Some might feel threatened. Some might walk away. Let them, because the version of you that reaches success can't carry everyone from the past. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. That's another price. The solitude isn't just physical, it's emotional too. People want growth, but they don't want to feel alone. They want progress, but they don't want to distance themselves from comfort. But the path of personal excellence is narrow. It's not crowded, and that's because most people choose company over progress. They choose being liked over being great, but you have to choose growth, even if it means walking alone for a while. Solitude will teach you what applause can't. It'll show you how strong your will is. It'll reveal your weaknesses. It'll expose your excuses, and it will force you to develop the kind of inner strength no crowd can give you. If you can survive solitude, you can survive anything, because that's where champions are made, in the silence, not the spotlight. You won't find the path to mastery at the center of attention. You'll find it on the edge of society, where the noise dies down and your thoughts get loud, where there's no one to impress, only goals to pursue, where you become your own motivator, your own accountability partner, your own coach. That's when you start tapping into a power that the average person never experiences. And when your moment finally comes, when the spotlight does find you, it won't be an accident. It'll be the result of every silent, thankless, invisible decision you made while the world looked the other way. People will call it overnight success. You'll know better. You'll know it was built in solitude, brick by brick, without permission, without praise, and without the need to be seen. Would you like me to expand Keynote 3 next in the same style? The world rewards value, not desire. Desire is cheap. Everybody has desire. Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants financial freedom. Everyone wants a good life. That part's easy. Wanting something doesn't make you special. What makes you valuable, what makes you rewarded, is the ability to deliver value. Because in the end, the world doesn't pay for what you want. It pays for what you offer. They never told you that success isn't about how badly you want it. It's about how well you understand the marketplace. And the marketplace doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your childhood hopes. It doesn't care if you came from nothing or if you worked hard yesterday. The marketplace is only concerned with one thing. What can you do for me today that makes my life better? And if you can answer that question well, consistently, and with excellence, you'll never have to chase money again. See, most people go to life with their hands out. I want more income. I want more time. I want more recognition. But the marketplace is like a mirror. It reflects what you bring to it. If you walk into life empty-handed, expecting full rewards, you're going to be disappointed. If you bring little value, you receive little reward. Bring average thinking, you get average pay. Bring extraordinary thinking and uncommon skill, and now you've created leverage. You've created power, not because you wanted it, but because you became valuable enough to earn it. People spend years wishing for better opportunities instead of becoming better individuals. But opportunity doesn't seek the unprepared. You want more income, become more skillful. You want more respect. Offer more wisdom. You want to lead, learn how to serve. Because the law of compensation is simple. You get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems you solve. Solve small problems, you get small checks. Solve big problems, you get big ones. The question is, are you becoming the kind of person who can handle problems at scale? It's not about how long you work. It's about how smart you work. It's not just about the hours you put in. It's about what you put into those hours. Two people can spend 10 hours at work. One brings creativity, insight, leadership. The other brings excuses, delay, and drama. Guess who gets promoted? Guess who gets noticed? The one who brings value. You have to stop trying to look successful and start trying to be useful. Don't chase admiration, chase mastery. Don't ask what the world owes you, ask what you can give to the world so well that it can't help but reward you. That's how you win, and when you start thinking that way, you begin to realize you're not just building a business or a career. You're building yourself into a person of value. The best investment you can ever make is not in stocks, not in property, not in someone else's business. It's in your own personal development. Read more, learn faster, ask better questions, practice longer, get so good they can't ignore you, not because you're loud, but because your work speaks loud. Your results echo. That's what the world rewards, undeniable proof of value. And value has levels. Low-level value is replaceable. That's why it pays minimum wage. You can find 100 people who can sweep a floor, answer a phone, post a photo. But high-level value, the kind that leads to freedom, impact, legacy, that comes from insight, that comes from study, from practice, from refining your craft until excellence becomes your baseline. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that wanting something is enough. Wanting isn't working. Wishing isn't winning. You've got to put the sweat in, the discipline, the late nights, the early mornings. You've got to stack your skills like bricks. You've got to sharpen your thinking like a blade. You've got to become obsessed with getting better, not just getting more. And when you do, when you cross that threshold from wanting to becoming, everything changes. You don't have to beg. You don't have to chase. You attract opportunities because the world sees that you can handle them. You've proven that you're not just a dreamer. You're a doer. You're not just interested. You're invested. You're not just hoping for value. You are value. And that's what they never taught you in school. They taught you how to pass tests. They taught you how to memorize facts. But they never sat you down and said, look, if you want to live well, truly well, you've got to make yourself useful, indispensable, valuable. Because once you do that, the world won't just give you money. It'll give you trust. It'll give you loyalty. It'll give you the one thing that can't be bought. Respect. Would you like me to continue with Keynote 4 in the same expanded format? Discipline is the bridge between you and everything you want. Discipline is not exciting. It's not flashy. It doesn't trend on social media, but it is the invisible force standing between where you are and everything you say you want. People talk about goals like their wishes. They say, I want to be wealthy, I want to be healthy, I want to be free, but they rarely talk about what it takes to actually get those things. That's because discipline isn't glamorous, it's gritty, it's uncomfortable, and most of all, it's personal. Discipline is the decision to do what's right even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching. It's setting the alarm and getting up when your mind tells you to stay in bed. It's walking past the junk food, opening the book instead of the app, making the call instead of waiting on motivation. That's the difference. Discipline shows up when motivation disappears. You see, motivation is like a spark. It can get you started. But if you're relying on motivation to keep you going, you're already in trouble. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is a decision. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. Discipline is the climate you choose to live in. When you build your life on discipline, you don't need to feel inspired. You just need to follow through. The world rewards people who follow through, not those who start strong, not those who talk loud, but those who keep showing up day after day, long after the excitement has worn off. That's the secret they don't talk about. The ones who win in life are not the most talented, they're the most consistent. And consistency is born from discipline. It's easy to do something once, Anyone can be committed for a day. Anyone can eat healthy for a week. Anyone can grind for a month. But discipline says, let's do it again and again and again. Not until you're tired, but until you're transformed. Discipline doesn't stop when it's difficult. It begins when it's difficult. That's where the separation happens. You want to know why most people don't make it. It's not because they don't have a dream. It's not even because they lack resources. It's because they haven't trained themselves to do what's necessary without negotiation. They leave the door open to excuses. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start Monday. I didn't feel like it today. That's how average people stay average. They let their emotions make their decisions, but discipline closes the door to debate. It doesn't ask how you feel. It only asks, is this what needs to be done? And when you live like that, when you remove choice from things that matter, you begin to reclaim your power. You no longer depend on the perfect conditions to act. You create progress out of thin air because discipline makes the conditions. It creates order out of chaos. It creates progress out of pressure. It builds character, momentum, and eventually mastery. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And discipline is the foundation of every great system. Want to get in shape? There's a system. Want to grow your income? There's a system. Want to master a skill? There's a system, and none of those systems will run without discipline at the center. Because systems aren't about what you do once, they're about what you repeat. And repetition without discipline is random. It has no power. Discipline also sharpens your identity. It sends a message, not just to the world, but to yourself, that you are serious, that you're not just interested in growth, you're committed to it. Every time you choose the disciplined path, you cast a vote for the future version of you that already has what you want. Every action becomes a brick in the foundation of that person, and over time that structure becomes unshakable. It's not always about going hard. Sometimes discipline is quiet. Sometimes it's choosing rest when rest is necessary, not when it's convenient. Sometimes it's saying no to things that look good, so you can say yes to things that are great. Sometimes it's turning off the noise, so you can hear your own thoughts. Discipline isn't just about effort, it's about direction. And a lot of people are busy, but they're busy running in circles. Discipline doesn't just make you act, it makes you act on what matters most. You don't build a strong body in a day. You don't build a business in a weekend. You don't become a master by accident. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when growth feels slow, when rewards feel distant, and when no one is clapping for you. Because discipline doesn't need applause. It doesn't need attention. It just needs commitment. Silent, steady, unshakable commitment. Would you like me to expand Keynote 5 next? The real enemy of success is comfort, not failure. Failure has been blamed for stopping dreams, but it rarely does. Failure is loud, and because it's loud, we fear it. But the real enemy of success, the quiet thief of ambition, is comfort. Comfort whispers while failure teaches. Comfort convinces you that where you are is good enough. It tells you that average is acceptable. It makes you feel safe, but safety is often just a slower road to regret. Comfort doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't challenge your thinking. It doesn't stretch your discipline. It just rocks you gently to sleep while time slips through your fingers. You never notice what it's taking until years have passed, and your potential is now a memory. That's the danger. Failure at the very least wakes you up. It pushes you to adjust. It gives feedback. Comfort doesn't speak with urgency. It kills your progress quietly. We are not born craving comfort. We are trained into it. From childhood, we are taught to avoid pain, to seek ease, to play it safe. And over time, this training becomes our lifestyle. We work just enough to not get fired. We learn just enough to pass the test. We exercise just enough to say we moved. But the greatness you were born with never survives in the atmosphere of just enough. Comfort seduces with short-term pleasure and long-term cost. It gives you the now at the expense of the later. It offers instant gratification while stealing your deeper satisfaction. It convinces you that discomfort is something to run from, when really, discomfort is a signal that you are growing. Success demands you feel things most people run away from. Confusion, frustration, fatigue, rejection. But those who push through those feelings rise, while those who avoid them remain. Think of anyone who's achieved anything remarkable. They didn't do it from their couch. They didn't do it with one foot in and one foot out. They weren't comfortable. They were stretched, tested, challenged. And while others were busy defending their limits, they were busy expanding them. That's the secret no one likes to talk about. The price of greatness is paid in discomfort. Comfort also feeds procrastination. It tells you that tomorrow is a better time. It tells you to wait until you feel more ready, more confident, more secure. But success doesn't wait for your comfort zone to feel safe. It waits for you to leave it. The best decisions are rarely comfortable in the beginning. Growth is rarely wrapped in ease. The more uncomfortable the action, the more potential it likely holds. People often say, "I'll change when things settle down," but life never settles for long. There's always a reason to delay. The key is to act not in the absence of resistance, but in spite of it. Comfort says, let's wait for the perfect moment. Growth says, let's make the moment perfect by acting now. That's the shift in mindset that separates the average from the exceptional. Comfort also surrounds itself with agreement. You'll notice how easy it is to stay average when you only talk to people who are comfortable being average. They'll tell you not to work too hard. They'll say you've done enough. They'll remind you to take it easy. But don't take advice from someone who's not where you want to go. Their comfort may become your ceiling. And if you're not careful, you'll inherit their limits as your own. The truth is, every time you choose comfort over growth, you reinforce a habit, and habits create identity. If you constantly avoid challenge, you become someone who hesitates. But if you lean into the uncomfortable things, hard conversations, early mornings, difficult tasks, you become someone who moves forward, who leads, who wins. You train your mind that hard is not something to fear, it's something to face. Every major breakthrough in life comes from stepping into the unknown. From risking rejection, from starting when it's scary. Comfort never produces breakthrough. It only maintains what already exists. And if you're not satisfied with what already exists, then staying comfortable is not an option. It's a trap disguised as peace. You can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. One has to go. You either give up your excuses or you give up your potential. You either step forward into discomfort or you stay stuck in what's familiar. The decision is always yours. And most people never reach their potential. Not because they weren't capable, but because they listened to comfort when they should have answered the call to rise. Would you like the conclusion of entire script now, so now you know what they never told you. Success doesn't arrive by accident, it's built by intention. It doesn't favor the lucky. It rewards the prepared. It doesn't show up in the spotlight. It's born in solitude. The marketplace doesn't care how badly you want it. It responds to the value you create. Discipline becomes the bridge that carries you over every excuse, every delay, every moment of weakness. And comfort, the silent enemy, will try to keep you exactly where you are while convincing you that you're already doing enough. But you've seen behind the curtain now. You've heard the message you weren't supposed to hear. Success isn't reserved. It's not sealed off. It's waiting. Waiting on the person who is ready to take full responsibility for their growth, who chooses discipline over distraction, value over vanity, and discomfort over regret. The moment you decide to step into that version of yourself, the one who acts, commits, and endures, is the moment everything starts to change. Not because the world changes, but because you do. And that's the greatest success of all.